and very excited to introduce you to Mr. Johnny Patterson of Dr. PAWPAW.
Hello, everybody.
So Johnny founded Dr. PAWPAW back in 2013, and he's going to give you a little bit of a introduction of the brand, but we're very excited to have him today because he has joined a few programs with us in the past, but more so that it is a very inspiring brand to look up to, seeing that it went from an indie brand to an international success. So great to have you here, Johnny.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on, and I'm really excited to talking to you today about our history, but also about how much the ECRM have helped us over the years.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, it's such a good, you actually have more experience with ECRM than I do because I'm the company.
Yeah, I'm thinking back, I think our first one was 2016 or 2017. But yeah, we wouldn't be without it.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. So for all those that have not heard about Dr. PAWPAW, maybe you can give us a little bit of a summary of how you guys started out.
Yeah, of course. So if you haven't heard about Dr. PAWPAW, we are Dr. PAWPAW. Here's our lovely big logo here on that famous yellow background. It's a multi-purpose beauty brand where everything in our range tends to multitask. That was one of the big things that we wanted to do. But really where it all started for us is our daughter, Jasmine, developed eczema. She was about 6 months old. We went to the doctors and the doctor said to us, you know, you should be considering this steroid cream. And to me and my wife, Pauline, who is the co-founder, that just seemed alien to us, that this beautiful little baby that we had to put this, what we felt was a nasty steroid cream onto her skin. Yeah. And so with Pauline coming from Australia, she'd heard of the power of papaya or pawpaw, and we really wanted to, you know, put that, you know, great product onto her skin that would make a difference. And really, strangely enough, that's where the brand came from, the idea of this papaya balm. We developed it with a chemist back in 2013. We started the brand on very little money. I borrowed about £10,000 from the bank. We had some friends who gave some small bits of help to us, and really we started it all from there. We bought 10,000 tubes, and really we took it from there. And we've never really looked back.
Yeah, I actually went out and bought one today. Oh, actually, that was 2 weeks ago.
Amazing.
Yeah, I before I joined ECRM, I've never heard of Dr. PAWPAW, but then you know, once I saw your brand, it was popping up everywhere. So for everyone who doesn't know, I live in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, and yeah, I picked it up at Ethos, and it was already actually running out. So
oh, fantastic. It's so funny you should say that, because once people have spotted our brand or have heard of it, they tend to then go, oh, I see it everywhere. And we have been lucky enough to get into many major countries. We do a lot on travel retail, so airlines, etc. And so we do tend to get a lot of awareness from there too. So, but thank you for the purchase. And I think I might see it. I think you might be wearing it, because I think I can see it on your cheeks.
I put it on the cheeks because I like that dewy look. I think that's also like a really trendy thing. They call it like the dumpling. So I was like, this is giving me extra dew here. So yeah, I really like it.
Well, actually, the current TikTok trend is called slugging, which sounds gross. Slugging. It's where we have this wet, dewy look on our face. And on TikTok recently, we've had a number of, you know, great posts that have gone viral, and we've had a lot of good sales from it. So yeah, if you get a chance, go onto TikTok.
I'm so impressed that you're like in the know with the TikTok lingo. I still need to really get like involved in TikTok, but I don't understand half the things that go on there.
I think my 11-year-old daughter brought it to my attention, if I'm being truthfully honest. So it wasn't me. So but yeah, it's popular.
I am slugging with Dr. PAWPAW. Awesome. Great. So, I mean, obviously, you know, I had a look at your brand and I can see that you have quite a strong following on social and you do a lot of work with charities and such. So I'd like to kind of understand, like, how did you differentiate Dr. PAWPAW? Because there's so many lip balm brands out there and so many
Yeah.
similar balm brands out there. Like, what did you do to kind of get yourself to stand out from the crowd?
I mean, I do have some big benefits on my side in that I come from a PR and marketing background. So I ran a hair and beauty PR agency for 22 years, so Catalyst. And I think, you know, straight away that gives us an advantage in that we were always doing so much marketing for the brand. So in terms of bringing the awareness of products to people's minds, we had that, but obviously that doesn't stand on its own. In terms of the unique selling points of the actual product itself, it's a mixture of things, really. I mean, first of all, we are natural and vegan, whereas most of the players in say lip, especially, tend to be one or the other. And we felt that really we should be offering the whole solution to the customer. The fact that then we've gone another stage further with our product in making sure that, you know, we are using PCR plastic, which you've seen many other brands now do. And where possible, we're not using extra plastic. We're using, you know, cardboard that's recyclable and water soluble. So like little examples of things like this, which I think if you'd have bought it from Etos today, you would have noticed that it's coming in cardboard packaging and not a balm on front of the packaging with more plastic on the top. So, you know, those things are, you know, have definitely given us a point of difference. But again, our whole story is that multi-purpose. And you know, we were pitching to a major British retailer last night with some new items that we're bringing. And again, they will multitask, they'll be multi-purpose. And I feel many brands tend to say they do it, but we make it our true focus. So natural, vegan, multi-purpose, these are like our main USPs. And then more recently, because we can afford to do it now, we're giving back where possible. So you know, we work with several charity partners in the United Kingdom, the United States, to give a percentage of sales to charities. So yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I see a lot of the multi-purpose products becoming quite trendy over the last couple of years too. So I'm curious to see what else I can use with this on.
Yeah, I think, but you know, and then in terms of just how we made ourselves well known and differentiate ourselves from other brands. I think when we first started out back in 2013, we really did get on top of Facebook and Instagram advertising. So we were really using that platform to drive the awareness of our brand when many people were still using traditional media, which, by the way, we still do. We love traditional media, but it just at the time, you could just sense that something special was happening on social with the ads. And beauty really does lend itself to social media because, you know, in 30 seconds, you can see a transformation. And so, you know, we really tried to harness that technology.
And what platform is working the best for you currently? Do you have one that's like your favorite?
Yeah, I mean, we've got some current troubles going on with Instagram. I think there's quite a lot of beauty brands that have got some issues going on with them at the moment. But initially it was Facebook, it was then Instagram, and then now we're doing a lot through TikTok. So we're seeing that with our definitely our US retailers. You know, they're saying, you know, all we hear is that customers are coming in because they've seen either something with us to do with Bridgerton, or they've seen something to do with Slugging, and it's driving customers to their stores. So they're I mean, you know, I definitely still don't think we're ahead of the curve on that because TikTok's been around now for a couple of years. It really grew in the pandemic, but we're definitely harnessing that at the moment.
That's exciting. Yeah, I really need to get myself an account, but I just feel like it's one extra platform that I'm gonna get addicted to. But I am forced myself on Instagram quite a lot, and I do myself because I love beauty products and new up and coming skincare. And I'm always on Instagram kind of looking at what pops up, and it does catch you in the feeds, you know? So I'm curious that you can harness TikTok as well. So
yeah, I think just something that we are looking at the moment, which we're probably going to do very soon, is email newsletters through WhatsApp. So we've been watching this for a while. I mean, it's been happening in China and the Far East for such a long time through the platform Weibo, but now there's basically a few programs here in the UK where we can send our notifications through WhatsApp to our customers. So we find that they're very, I mean, just like text messages, although I feel text messages feel so evasive. They feel like it's somebody's entering your private world, whereas WhatsApp, I still feel for a lot of people feel like it's quite business, people accept it. And so we've started to send some information through there to our customers, and the open rates are crazy.
Really?
So
Compared to
really
the traditional
powerful
email. Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's social. I think
I think
WhatsApp
it
is
is.
social. Yeah.
I see more and more, even for me dealing with international clients, that more and more of business conversations do take place on WhatsApp. I've never heard of email newsletter on WhatsApp, so this is something new to me. But I mean, that's great that you're on the curve for that.
Well, if anybody wants to email me afterwards, I can share the information that we've learned. Happy to do so.
Yeah. So for everyone, our emails will be sent to you at the end of the program. So if you have any questions for Johnny or for myself, feel free to email us directly.
Yeah, great.
So moving on, I mean, we touched a little bit about the markets that you've jumped into, but I think it's super impressive that, in 9 years, you have gotten all over Europe, you're in the US, and now you're tackling the largest market of China. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about like some strategies that you used to kind of get traction in the different markets, especially US and Europe, and maybe also China now. I'm curious to hear those stories.
Yeah, I mean, if I take you on a quick journey, because we definitely fell into it. I mean, I want to reach out to anybody that's watching this today and thinks, oh, he just knew how to do it and he went and did it. That was not the case. We started up this brand, as I mentioned, from that £20,000 worth of cash. And Paulie and I really didn't know how to enter into other markets. But I just so happened to meet a lady from the Department from International Trade on a train journey from Manchester to London. And I saw her using a competitor balm. And I said to her, like, you don't really want to be using this. You want to be using this one. Handed it to her, and she absolutely loved the product. And she said, well, I actually work for the Department from International Trade. Would you please come and see me? And from that meeting, she helped us with funding to attend international shows, to start to think about exporting. And so I would say, whether you're British or, wherever you are in the world, do approach your government, because they really want companies that are based in their territory to do more exporting, more manufacturing, so that we're buying less from foreign territories and then shipping it out. We're basically making it here and shipping it out from here. So that's where the journey started from, just a quick meeting.
How many years into the brand was that when you had that meeting?
So I met her in 2014. So the business had been going about 6 months, and they gave me some funding and said, go and do this show. I mean, when I came back to Pauline, my wife, and said, like, we're going to go and do a trade show in this foreign country, she's like, this is crazy. But from that show, we picked up 2 or 3 international retailers. We opened 2 or 3 distributors. And, I don't mind saying it, for the first, 2 to 3 years of our business, that international business funded our UK growth. Everyone says that to grow your UK business, if you want to earn £1 in the UK, you've got to spend 2. It is true. In the US, I think it's even more. But, we put all that money into building our UK business, because I do really believe that you have to have a strong home market if you really want to have a great international market. So that's where it all started from. We started doing more and more shows because we could see how successful they were for us. We have a can-do positive attitude. So we were at these shows, and then ECRM, meeting people, being our positive selves, telling them this great story that we had. And it just continued to grow and grow. And so the UK business, was flourishing in the background, but I suppose the markets that we first really entered were places like Poland, Benelux as a territory. Eventually, we went into Korea, South Africa. you mentioned the United States. That's become one of our most strongest markets, and I suppose we'll talk about it later. But we really built our entire US business from the ECRM initially.
Wow.
So we can talk about that in a bit. And then more recently, we're trying to enter the Chinese market initially with Tmall Global. So if anybody knows anything about the China market, they'll know about Tmall. It's basically the Amazon of the Chinese world, but 10 times bigger. We started operating on that a year and a half ago, and we're building the business slowly but surely. Obviously, the thing about the Chinese market, you're preaching to, 1.7 billion consumers, so you do need a large marketing fund.
Yeah.
And whilst we have marketing budgets, it's challenging. But it's growing, and we're going to be doing some more direct business there in the near future as well. So it's exciting, lots of positives.
Yeah, and I see a lot of different ways that China is a huge market, and there's a lot of I see some interesting ways that they're selling products, like these live feeds and stuff like that. I don't know if you're tackling any of that.
Yeah, so it's live streaming is what you're talking about. And we call them influencers here in the UK and the US, but in China they're called KOLs, so key opinion leaders. And so the first thing about the Chinese market is that you just really need to learn whole new lingo. And I'm not talking about the language, it's just everything is, and that's obviously a big challenge, but it's just that all the terminology is so much more different, and the way that you approach influences is completely different. Here in the UK, it's about sampling and trying to impress. In China, they need to know how much stock you've got in your warehouse, what your marketing budget is, how many followers you've got.
The influencers ask you this.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So, we were working on basically the biggest influencer in China in like October last year, getting ready for 11/11, which again is the biggest festival season in China in selling. And we didn't have enough stock in our warehouse, so she didn't want to work with us. So, but it was quite early on. We're only 9 months into our journey at that point. So, the opportunities will come again. So I suppose if anybody is trying to enter China again, I'm here to talk to people, but you need expertise on the ground. And again, just something to touch upon. Places like the United States, you definitely need local expertise. But I think one of the great things for us is obviously they speak English, we speak English. The Americans do have a love of British products, so it has been slightly easier to work there. We still employ local knowledge, but places like China, you need absolute knowledge. It's like another planet, really.
Different business practices and everything as well. So I
definitely, paperwork.
I can teach you a little Chinese if you need.
Oh well, I need that help, please.
Oh, great. So on the subject of market expansion, and you mentioned you touched briefly upon ECRM. I think a lot of the attendees here today are kind of curious of how our program works, and it comes better from you than me. And I'm really curious as well to hear about your experiences with our US programs, our European programs. So maybe you can let everyone know, like, what's your experience with us and how you've utilized our programs in the past. I'm super impressed. I didn't know that most of your US business was based off of ECRM. So take it away. I'm very curious.
I think the first thing, I always like to go back. I remember Anne meeting me at consumer shows and saying to me, "Johnny, you must come to the ECRM." And when she would tell me the price, I would balk. I'd be like, "This is so expensive," to basically sit in a hotel room and to meet, buyers. It just seemed, would I get my return on investment? And, I can categorically say in advance, we've always got a return on investment. If not that, to be honest, it funds lots of parts of our business. Once we finally decided to make the plunge, I think, the things that I learned very early on about the ECRM is that you absolutely need to manage your schedule. And, this is not to speak tough about the ECRM. Your manager will constantly change your timings around, because she's trying to work on behalf of the buyers, but obviously you need her to work, or him to work on behalf of you. So the best bit of advice I could say is make sure you know who you want to see before you go. So if you get that schedule through, and there's particular people there that you want to meet, tell your account manager, because they will keep that people on schedule for you. And make sure you take off anybody that doesn't suit, because you don't want to waste the buyer's time, and you don't want to waste your own timings, because that will give them more free time to get the key people that you want to see in. Managing the schedule is always so important. And then another top tip that I've always passed on to my fellow British brands or brands I've met abroad is make sure you read the description of what it is that they're looking for at the show.
Yes.
So, buyers would come into our meeting room and I would have read up on, say, said retailer, and I would have read what they're looking for from the ECRM. And I would open with that line. Apart from all the pleasantries and the smiles, I would move on directly. Oh, I believe you're interested in this natural vegan skincare. Well, have I got a product to show you today? And so they walk in and they think he's read the description, he knows what I'm looking for, and they're paying attention. Correct. Whereas I have heard from fellow brands, and they've said, oh, this person didn't seem very attentive, they weren't that interested, meaning a buyer. But I've found that they've been a little bit lax, they've maybe not read up. Do your research, make sure you see the people that you want to see, and work with the ECRM. They're so fantastic at making sure that you see the right people. So I don't know, I'm going on quite a bit. But,
no, I love that you say this, because, sometimes people just expect, okay, you join the program, immediately business deals are going to come left and right. But we offer that connecting bridge as the platform, but you still got to do your homework. You need to, as you say, research the buyers. You would prepare for meetings that you would go to, like, let's say your client's office, or you meet them at a trade show. So you must prepare for these meetings as well. And the more well prepared you are, the more receptive these buyers are going to be to your products.
Of course, and other little things that we're doing. I mean, this is where it doesn't just all come down to the ECRM, because we're not here just to sell the ECRM service. We would also do other trade shows. We would also, write to retailers in advance, so that before they came to the show, they would come into our room and go, I keep hearing about you, I keep feeling you, seeing you. And they think that it was some coincidence, but no, we've worked really hard on making sure that we are visible in the market. Now, we might not be in the market, but we make sure that we're visible in the market. And, I wanted just to show everybody today, like, this is an example of something that we do. It's called our Dr PAWPAW brand book. It's perfect bound, but on the inside is basically our whole story. It's printed.
Nice.
It has, the buyer explains all our stock. It's our 7 pillars of why we do what we do, all our product information. But, they receive this in advance, because what we do is we look up who we're going to see on schedule, we write to them, and so before they've even walked in the room, they've got something about us. And I think that's, try and get ahead, I suppose. So before they walk in the room, so you're not like teaching them from the start. I mean, not everybody has that capability, but if you can do it, it makes such a big difference. And I don't know if you want me to talk about the US ECRM.
Oh, I mean, no, of course you can, but I love that you're making this point as well, because in any products that we buy, it's about the amount of touch points that you see. Like, for example, if I'm on Instagram, I see an ad, and then I see them in the store or something. It's in your mind, or you see them at the trade show. So ECRM is a really strong touch point. If it's 10 or 20 minutes, you got these guys' attention for that time, and they're not going anywhere. So
it needs more. It shouldn't just be used on its own. And, if I go to the ECRM, my life's going to change. Well, actually it did for us, but it's part of a whole effort. I mean, if it was always that simple, everybody would be doing it, wouldn't they? I mean, you just book an ECRM and your life's changed. It doesn't work like that. You have to do so much more. But in just talking about the United States, we've been doing trade shows there. But Pauline and I had always wanted to be in Ulta. We felt that that was the right position for us as our brand. And so one of the things that we knew as well is that American buyers, and maybe this is being a little bit naughty here, but we knew that if we said we're a British brand, we're set up in the United Kingdom, and if you buy our goods, we're going to ship them from the UK to the US, they run a mile, because it's just too much worry. I mean, I'm sure some brands do it, and congratulations if they can, but the stress of getting anything over the water at the moment, I think we all can appreciate the last couple of years. It's been crazy, whether it's can you get a ship, or whether it gets stuck in the Suez Canal, or the weather, all these different issues. So we didn't actually have a business in the United States, but we decided to go to the ECRM and almost pretend like we did. We basically found the warehouse that we were going to use, and we got their approval to be in our deck. We found the agency that we wanted to use and got their approval to put them in our deck. And basically we went to the ECRM and said, you know, this is us. We're going to have this agency. This is going to be our warehouse, and we're going to have stock in the United States. Wow. It worked. We didn't have it, but we were going to do it. And I think it showed again that we'd thought through, you know, the business plan or the business model. And, you know, for us, we won Ulta. And that was from that ECRM. I remember to this day.
You won Ulta through ECRM.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yes. Yeah.
How many stores do they have across the US?
Well, we got all stores, so 1,200. Which,
wow.
I mean, for any of our British counterparts, they'll know that that's a lot of stores, because here in the UK, you know, obviously 500 stores is big. So 1,200 was great. Simultaneously, we also won CVS, which we won 7,500 doors from their account. And then we picked up an Amazon distributor as well. So this was all from one show. So basically, we managed to.
What year?
2018.
2018. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Palm Springs edition. If you ever get invited to go to Palm Springs, do it. sunshine.
Ulta.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's
best trip ever.
I was going to say, the interesting thing was, I mean, we would be having our meetings during the day, and then we'd go down to the pool. I'd be in my swimming shorts. Polly would be in, her swimming costume. And there would be all the buyers in their swimming costumes. I tell you what, it takes all the stress out of those meetings very quickly, because, it's so informal. You get to meet each other really quickly. So it was, and there's nowhere else to go, because in Palm Springs, you're in the middle of the desert. So, we were all on site, and we basically spent 3 to 4 days together. So that time is invaluable. And actually, we met our Canadian distributor out of it. And the Canadian distributor didn't come to our meeting room. We met him at dinner at the ECRM.
Oh, during a networking event, like it wasn't like an informal meeting. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's so we had dinner with them, and they're now our Canadian distributor. So it's well worth it. But be prepared to work hard. Be prepared to make lots of awareness for your brand before you get there, and do your research. I can't stress it enough.
That's amazing. That's really, really good tips. Especially a lot of the viewers today would be first time or emerging brands that they're looking to see how to break it. And sometimes I have questions like, well, we're going to go to XX trade show anyways, so we prefer that. Maybe can you talk a little bit about why you thought that, not better, but like how does ECRM programs work alongside your activities at events?
Yeah, they're definitely not better. I don't think anything's better. I think it's, as you say, it's how you work them. So we attend the ECRM it's generally, I think, February or March, your European one.
February, yeah.
Yeah, and if there's a said big trade show, generally in March and April.
Yeah.
And
Cosmoprof, we're all going to be there.
okay, there you go.
I'm going to tell everyone I'm going to Cosmoprof as well. We'll see you guys all there.
Great. We're there too. Come and see us on our stand, please. If you're clever enough, and if you can afford to do both, doesn't it make sense that you go to ECRM, meet all these amazing new buyers, and then say, come to Bologna and come and see us on our stand? Because you can basically do that intro meeting. You're 20 minutes. And then they can come to your stand and you can finish up, I think, I mean, it's they work perfectly together.
Yeah.
So, you know, you really do, if you can afford it, try and do both. So yeah, really, really great. And I think they work alongside each other. I mean, obviously, simultaneously, there is a big consumer show in the US, which falls quite alongside the ECRM in the US too. So I think we touched upon it before. It's not just one thing. I mean,
yeah,
if you look at Apple and their marketing, bus stops, TV, print, there's always that argument, you know, the 7 touches of marketing.
yeah.
If somebody keeps seeing something, all of a sudden they feel like, oh, I need this.
Yeah.
They don't know why, but they need it because they just keep seeing it. And humans tend to just find it. It's psyche.
Yeah, yeah.
Psyche.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I'm going to go on to my next question then, unless there's anything else about ECRM that you wanted to touch about.
I mean, yeah, I think we certainly have. I mean, on the virtual side as well, obviously, I love physical meetings. So, you know, we've missed it. Went to a concert on Sunday, and we were to see Ed Sheeran, and just the first thing he said at the start of it was, "Say, isn't this great to be back together?" And you know, meeting the buyers yesterday evening. You know, we had dinner and drinks together, and again, that felt so good. You know, enjoying this, of course. Can't wait to hopefully meet you in Bologna or in Holland. Hopefully in Holland, I prefer that.
Sometimes,
yeah, but you know, you can't beat physical. But the virtual ones, they still work. You know, they have a purpose, and you know, there's different types of you know, ones with ECRM. So I think if you're nervous of the physical one, it could be nice just to step in and dip your toe if you like. I actually feel like it's the best online platform I've ever used for like you know, doing virtual programs, because you can present with like a deck, you can present showing the product being used, and you can present face screen. So you've basically got 3 cameras on at once, which I still don't know how you guys do it, which is pretty cool.
Very special platform. It's built in-house from our US team, and we've actually had offers buy the platform from us.
Wow.
Like, no, it's ECRM only.
Yeah. I mean, we could have done with that in the pandemic, you know, just to do even team meetings, you know. So yeah, it was very good. So yeah, I'd mention that, and it's worth a try.
Yeah, I've also worked with a couple brands at our beauty week in February that are smaller, and they also had, you know, there's always this like kind of like hesitation in the beginning, but once they had the meetings going, you know, you get 10 or 20 minutes with these buyers, you know, full attention, whereas sometimes it's even hard to get when you're at the shows, or it's too big, you know, or if you're not well known, how are you going to find the buyer? So that they really enjoyed the program, and they got feedback from, you know, even the larger retailers that they're not ready to do business with, but it kind of got the feedback that helped them put the direction to their brand for the next year or two to see how they can get into these retailers. So I think that was valuable as well.
Definitely. I would just want to say one top tip there. We have had retailers, e-tailers, even consumers who have said no for a reason. Listen to that advice, that it's, you know, it's meant to be, you know, to critique you. It's not meant to make you be angry or upset or to take it offensively. So if you get great advice, listen to what people have got to say. There's generally a reason. And I feel like one of the things we've always done is continually listened to what people say. Especially, I think if you're a business owner or you're an entrepreneur, there is really not that many people to talk to. You can't really bounce off anybody. So, you know, I have my own sort of business group with friends called In the Know. There's about 10 of us on it, and you know, we're just constantly sharing information about what we see, what's happening, etc. And the one thing that I love about them is that they tell me when I'm doing things wrong, and I think vice versa. It's good to have some, you know, good positive criticism when you need it.
Yeah, I mean, I observed a few meetings, and some of the comments that the buyers were making was so shocking that they would even look at those details. But you guys know what the market is changing so quickly with everything, current events, that these buyers also have to pivot. So the feedback that they get, oh, your product looks great, but the packaging is off. We don't like purple or something like that.
Yes.
Like it's mind blowing that if you're so involved in your own brand and you think, oh, I love this brand, to hear external feedback from the actual buyers really kind of opens your mind a bit.
Exactly. Listen to the changes, because you never know. It might mean like lots of pounds or dollars at the end of it. So.
On that note, I mean, obviously the consumer base has been changing for the last couple of years, pandemic, Gen Z, all of this. So like, what are some things that you've done or you've adapted to meet this kind of changing audience? And are there different channels? We've talked about TikTok, but was there any other things that you were kind of trying to utilize to kind of target the consumers?
I suppose we always feel like we're one of those really annoying brands that say we cater for everybody. And I know that's a cliche or a bit, lazy, but we really do believe in it. But if we are talking just about the Gen Z customer, or we actually talk about clean Z customer. So, it's not just, the Gen Z customer is about an age. The clean Z customer is about an age, but with their interest for transparency and being educated, conscious, etc. So, we were natural and vegan. Well, we are natural and vegan, so we're sort of tick. Obviously, we're giving back, which is another tick. But I think if my top tip would be like with these, beauty brands, so many of them do so much amazing work, yet they don't shout about it. And so if you are doing great things and you can be transparent, really, really shout about it to these customers. I think that they are a great base. They are our future. They just want to see that you're doing it, and that you are doing, such positive things. But in terms of reaching that audience, I mean, again, we've talked about it before. It's obviously working with things like TikTok and the latest social media channels, and then influencers of the right type as well. I mean, I think the other thing to think about with this modern market is that some are really into how do I put it? They're really into clean Z, so they're interested in clean beauty, etc. But then you've got some that are sort of fast paced, want to buy now, etc. And I think that's a whole different type of customer. And it doesn't mean that they're not positive for the world environment. It's just that they want to buy differently. So I think it's just having the right voice. Another thing that we're obviously spending quite a bit of time on is like our connectivity. So I think this customer is so connected. They have grown up on Instagram. They're now on TikTok. They're using WhatsApp faster than we can. They're double thumbers. They're typing away like this. In fact, I think one day there'll be 4 fingers typing away, and they'll be so super quick. And I think a lot of businesses like ours, run by 40-year-olds, etc., we need to keep up with that connectivity. So, when there is a customer concern, how are you responding to them, and which channels, how quickly? And I think that's something that we're trying to get our heads around. So, and we're talking to them in the relevant voice as well. So,
slugging.
Talk to them. Slugging. Exactly. Love it. Very good. Starting with slugging, right. With slugging.
Yeah. No, but it's right. Like, people are so reactive. People demand kind of that connectivity from an early on. And when did you start off from the beginning with your brand, always focusing on the connection part of it? Like you always wanted to build that big social, because that's something that I'm trying to educate a lot of the clients that we work with, that they have beautiful product, amazing packaging, but their presence on socials or with their audience is still quite small, and they need to learn to do that. But did you start off from the very beginning focusing on this?
Yeah, I don't think it was about social media channels. It was just always the focus that the customer is always right, which, I mean, again, is very old-fashioned, cliche type thing. But, if any of our customers ever had an issue or something, we would just replace. We would always just, listen to what they had to say, etc. So, but yeah, I mean, again, we see so many brands got amazing, beautiful packaging, but socially they're not on it or doing it. But there is still something to be said about old media, TV, out of
Yeah.
home advertising as well. So don't forget all those things.
Great. Well, that comes to my questions, but I'm going to start throwing some questions in from the audience. I have one from Kelly here, who she's asking, just wondering if you had to test on animals to get into the Chinese market. They are a vegan brand, and they're wondering how it affects that.
Yeah, so currently we sell on Tmall Global, and that's basically a cross-border program. So what Kelly's talking about, hi Kelly, is the fact that in China currently testing on animals is still in place. That legislation is coming to an end, and it just depends what is in your ingredients. So keep looking at that. Speak to your DIT representative for the Department for International Trade. They'll be able to give you great advice. But we are obviously very conscious of that. One of our big things is we're PETA approved. So we obviously don't test on animals. As you know, it's against European law, so we can't do it. But obviously, if you want to break into the China market for a long period of time, you had to test. So we went down year one, the Tmall Global route. So it basically means we've got a bonded warehouse outside of China, and the products go over the border into the Chinese market. So you can run like that. But yes, we will be entering mainland China soon because the legislation is changing. So reach out.
And awesome. And I have a question from Alicia here. I think you answered it with the US program, but she's asking, who was your first major retailer through ECRM? Was it Ulta, or did you also have another one from the other programs?
Well, actually, we met AS Watson's on the European program. We had met the head of European beauty buying, and they basically said, we love this stuff. We love it. We love what you're doing. We're really interested. And they have been so good that they've helped us enter the British, Polish, Dutch, Hungarian, and we're now talking to them for the Far East. So AS Watson is in Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, China, and obviously AS Watson's in the Middle East, and they're helping us enter all those markets. So in terms of the size of the prize, I would say that that's been the biggest lead that we've had, because the head of European buying is helping us stretch across the whole of the world. So, thank you to that. Thank you for that. But yeah, I mean,
AS Watson, they come to all of our programs, so it's a good
they do. So yeah, it's a really, really great one. So yeah, that's probably the biggest in terms of the size of the prize if we go with that.
Oh, great. Alicia, I don't know if it's the same Alicia asking, but she's asking, what is your best advice to build brand awareness in order to lower PR and marketing budget before attending ECRM?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly challenging. I mean, as I said at the start of it, my biggest benefit is that I ran a PR agency, so I knew how to do PR. But if I was starting again and I had little budget, definitely Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Spend some of the budget on that. Get yourself a great content strategy. That can be done quite cheaply by doing a really nice photo shoot, shooting your products in situ, seeing the products actually being used. Shoot some great video content as well. Social, as we all know, we tend to look at video more than we do look at images, because once someone's going through the social channel with that thumb, they will stop and look at a video for 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds, whereas an image takes a millisecond for them to go no. So video is definitely the way forward on social platforms. But another thing is as well is it's really old fashioned, but getting yourself together a really nice press box that you can have products in, a really nice press release. Obviously make sure that the boxes can be recycled, because the media are on this now. If you're sending a box and it's got tons of plastic on the inside, they're really not for that. So make sure that it's obviously can be recycled, but a great product, nice samples, get the names of the press and send them samples, and you'll get great media coverage. Once you've got the media coverage, once you've got the social following, and you don't have to have hundreds of thousands, I'd say you definitely need to be in the tens of thousands on the social platforms for them to take notice. But once you've got that, it's more about what you do with the coverage. So again, everybody focuses on, I need more coverage, I need more awareness. But actually, once you've got the awareness, why not just tell the buyers about what you've achieved? And I think that's the thing that brands tend to forget. They're so focused on the next thing. But if you just stop and, you know, we regularly, every month, we will write to Alter and say, here's all the coverage that we achieved for you this month.
Wow, you touch base with them and tell them everything you've had in terms of PR.
Yeah, so we have a monthly call, generally talk about all positives, and then we obviously show them, you know, the media awareness, etc. And at the start, it was all just about sending out samples and the social awareness. Now that we've moved a little bit further on, and if anyone is trying to break the US, one of the things to look at is TV broadcasts. So you can purchase segments on Good Morning America, you know, different TV shows. Costs a few $1,000s, but I mean, you're talking to millions of people, and the buyers really like that in the US.
Awesome.
So social and print mailings is the cheapest way of getting that initial awareness.
Social. Great. Okay, and Kelly's also asking, is your packaging the same for all countries, or do you have different packaging for different languages? Or...
Oh, Kelly, you've got great questions. Initially, you know, we had one type of packaging with multiple languages on the back, and my thing would be is definitely put the languages of where you're sold, and if you're not in international markets yet, consider the languages of the world, which are the most popular. It's the basic to go with. So, you know, we would always have English, French. French means that obviously you can sell in Canada. Obviously, the French market know it, and there's a lot of French-speaking territories. Spanish is a must. It's still the #1 speaking language of the world. Make sure you have the key languages. But then once you get beyond that, you know, if say you are in the Middle East, have the Middle Eastern languages on your packaging. And then once you get to a point where we're at, where we're in so many countries, you can consider printing on the inside of the box all the languages, the little leaflets that can go on the side, QR codes that take you off to explain things in other languages as well. But then in terms of changes to packaging, yes, if we have serious markets, and what I mean by serious market, where we're doing large volumes of sales and the retailer wants, say to be in their language, then we would change up the packaging, but we would always ask for an MOQ based on that. So like if we were entering the German market and they wanted German packaging, we would ask for an MOQ. So make sure that you do get your MOQs right. I tend to find that around the world, most of them want us to have the English writing on there, British, because we are from Britain and people want to see that. And then the only other thing to note, Kelly, is just some of the retailers want to have bespoke packaging just for them because they want it to be exclusive. So that's something also to bear in mind. So you may be in 3 retailers in one country, and because they want to feel like they've got their own packaging, they will say to you, could you repackage just for us? And it's worth considering, again, if the MOQs are right.
Great, thanks, Johnny. I have one from Elizabeth here. So what markets are you not in that you'd like to be? And
there's lots of places really, or places where we're not doing as well where we'd like to be. I mean, like, we do nothing in South America. So I'm actually wanting to consider doing the ECRM in the South Americas, because I know that they have a program. So the whole of South America. We would like to do more in parts of Europe. I'm sure a lot of your listeners will know this, but whilst the EU feels so close to Britain, every single country feels like sometimes like another world. So places like France and Spain, we would like to do more. So yeah, probably those places at the moment. But I mean, currently it's us working on the markets that we're in, because you know, the US is a big market, UK is a big market, and obviously China long term is a big market. So we're focusing on this, and we're just about to enter into India as well.
Wow.
So, you know, I think, yeah, I think there's also a point, another great bit of advice. Sorry, what was the lady's name? Was it Kelly?
Yes.
Sorry, what was it? Or Elizabeth?
Oh, sorry, Elizabeth. Sorry, yes, this
Elizabeth,
was Elizabeth.
yeah. Elizabeth, I would also say, like, once you have a number of markets, maybe don't do what I do, slow down a bit, really focus on those markets, get them right, and then move on to new markets. But yeah, I definitely want to do something in the Americas, France and Spain.
Amazing. And were there challenges in certain countries that were unexpected?
Yeah, definitely. So Canada, first of all, we were talking to the biggest retailer there. They loved our packaging, loved us. We're going to put us into, it's the biggest retailer in sorry, I was just up.
I know, I saw the comment.
Sorry. We're trying to break the Canadian market, but you know, we got quite far down the line. This is all good, and then they said, right, so where's your compliant packaging? What do you mean? It's, well, you do know that Canada, it's Canada, and obviously there's Quebec, and we need French writing on all the packaging on the front. Oh, so biggest challenge, we had to literally go away and, as Kelly asked, redo all our packaging. So if you now look at any of our packaging, there is that French description under every single description of our products, and that's to make us compliant for Canada. So that was a challenge. I think places like China is language barrier, but again, higher local knowledge. There's challenges in every market that you go into, whether it be time difference, language, understanding the people. But you know, if you don't know at higher local knowledge, you know, that's definitely a top tip.
Very helpful. So we have time for 2 more questions. So I have one from Sandra here. She's just asking which stores you are currently in the UK.
Oh, in the UK. So in grocers, Waitrose and Sainsbury's, we're really proud of our partnership with them. In the United Kingdom, in beauty, we're in Boots and Superdrug. I mean, most of the e-tailers, and then we've got a big launch this year. We're really excited about Marks and Spencer's. It's going to be our next big launch. There's many more. I think, you know, we've been working on the UK now. It'll be our 10th year next year, and I think we've got to that tipping point in our lip care category. Where it's basically, we've reached that tipping point where people the retailers think, oh, we need to have that there because it's generally everywhere, which is, it's a great place to be. We still have to do a lot of work for it, by the way, lots of PR, lots of marketing, lots of space negotiations. But yeah, it's we're a good place in the UK.
Everywhere in the UK.
yeah. There's still more that we'd like to be in, but you know, it's coming.
Yeah, that's why you keep coming back to us.
Yes, exactly. And actually, top tip, I mean, never think that you've made it anywhere. You continually need to do these shows, these meetings with buyers, because you need to keep on top, and you need your innovation. You need to be showing them what you're doing next. And actually, also, why does the ECRM just have to be about new business? You know, if you can go to America and spend 3 days there and meet all the retailers and do all your meetings, they're doing it all in one place, and not. And America's a big country, so trying to get around it's quite hard. So, yes.
Wow.
I'm
getting a lot of questions. I mean, you're like an expert on everything. So I'm just gonna just quickly do one more, and everyone, once again, we will email you with a copy of the recording, as well as Johnny's email and my email. So if you have more questions for Johnny, Johnny is the expert. I've seen several podcasts with Johnny about this already. I myself am a wantrepreneur. I would love to have my own brand one day. So I'm learning from this as well. So please make sure that you email Johnny directly. The question I had was really from Yana, I think, or Jana, Janna. She's just asking, what is your strategy usually to develop your business abroad? I think we've covered it with several markets, but do you have like a one strategy for each market, or do you kind of tailor it per market?
No, I'm really glad you asked that. And it's we try to create what we call like our pan feel So when we take on a new market, we will always fly in, meet the distributor stroke retailer. We tell them all about our brand. They must have our training program, so where they learn all about our products, all the do's, the don'ts, the opportunities, perhaps some of the negatives. So we cover absolutely everything. They are given our marketing hub, which includes all our imagery, all our videos, our style guide on how the fonts, the look and feel of the brands, the Pantone colors, because I think it's so important to create a brand. You really need to have like this one feel. And so many brands I've seen, you know, in new countries, and there's a strange font or a new color, or, you know, they sell it in a different way. And, you know, for us, we're control freaks. I think any entrepreneur is a control freak, really. And if you're not, then become one. So definitely do that. And then once we've done that, we tend to then move on to the marketing strategy. And the marketing strategy that we created here in the UK has worked in the US. So I haven't really talked about that today, but we do lots of beauty boxes. So sampling through beauty boxes. And again, they tend the ECRM. We enter lots of awards in different countries so that we're seen to be an award-winning brand. We are an award-winning brand. We give a lot of samples away to makeup artists. So if your product fits with MUAs, give them the product because they talk about it, and they're giving it to celebrities, which is a big, big win. And so then we follow the PR strategy. And I suppose one thing that I would recommend if you can get to a size, or if you have this, have some sort of retail marketing brand manager who brings the retailers, the distributors onto calls and make sure that they're adhering to your plans and where you want to go. So there's this one feel. And I think that's a really great investment. It's a really great investment.
Speaking of celebrities, I read somewhere, was it Victoria Beckham that used your product? Or I forgot where you had the write-up, but I saw it somewhere.
So last year on a podcast, she was talking on a major sort of podcast stroke radio station, and she mentioned that she bought our product from a retailer. My wife, Pauline, the co-founder, is a huge fan of Victoria Beckham. So to hear her say our name on podcast was, you know, amazing for her. And, you know, she talked about us in where we come from. She's like, I was just down the local, what did she call it? She said like the local pickup store or pharmacy store. And I love this PAWPAW stuff. It's amazing. It looks great on me. And we were just, it died and gone to heaven. But we've had lots of those little moments, whether it's been like Emma Watson saying she carries us always in her handbag, and we've got that article, which was amazing. And Alicia Keys saying it's the only thing that's like a go-to, you know, to having a sellout from the Bridgerton show. So lots of little wins. But yes,
when was the Bridgerton? I just watched season 2 yesterday. When did they shout out to your product?
So what happened was, in the last show, we got wind that they were using our products on the show. And we heard that maybe this little product here was being used on the Duke, very attractive man. And I think it was Daphne as well. And they basically said, this is how you got that dewy look. Slugging, if you like to call it.
You got slugged.
But, you know, again, my great PR team, our amazing PR team, they took the story, pushed it out onto the US media, and Glamour put it up on their social channel in the US on Valentine's Day. Picture of the Duke saying, you want this look? You need this $8 balm. And we sold out in Amazon and Ulta in 24 hours. So never doubt the power of PR, you know. And that, by the way, guys, I talked about it earlier. We just sent out a press release. Cost nothing. So you don't need to go and spend tens of thousands of dollars or pounds. Just a simple, good story.
That's great. I have one last question for everyone. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
That they're asking that, you know, do you utilize any like B2B marketplace platforms? I mean, for example, for ECRM, we have RangeMe. We are sister company RangeMe. So are you also on RangeMe as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how do you?
I got sold the RangeMe concept by the pool at Palm Springs. I don't know who the gentleman that runs it. He came up to me and we're sitting having a pina colada together. And he said, you need to be on RangeMe. And so we signed up by the pool. So
really?
Yes. Yeah. what I would say about Range Me, just very quickly. So yeah, definitely, it's a B2B platform. Do it, but don't expect that it's going to be this interactive platform where all of a sudden Walgreens are going to email you and say, hey, we want to buy all your stock. It's more of like a directory where they go on to see what brands are doing. So, definitely see it as that. So we will go on to a call, say, with a new American retailer, and they'll say, I just saw you on Range Me. I liked what you were doing. Can we have a chat? And so that works for us. Other B2B platforms, I mean, it's again a bit old fashioned, but I tend to use a lot of the old retail directories and stuff to tell the industry what we're doing. So, magazines, etc. I think that's just as important because the retailers are looking to see what brands are doing. So that's B2B. So things like The Grocer, which is a classic English, British story about what's happening in retail. And then you have the same types of media in the United States as well. So, definitely look at those.
I feel like you've checked all the channels.
Wow. Exactly.
Well, we're a little bit over time, so I'm gonna have to wrap everything up. But once again, with everyone, we will send this recording out to everyone, so you'll be able to watch it again, or you can share it with all of your friends. And as well, if you have any questions, please feel free to email Johnny. He knows so much. He's a wealth of knowledge. I can speak to you forever.
Thank you.
So please touch base with Johnny. He'll definitely be able to provide some knowledge. And as I mentioned earlier, I will be visiting CosmoProf. So if anyone wants to meet on site, I'm happy to share some information about our upcoming programs in Europe. We have our Sustainable Purpose-Driven Indie program coming up in May. That's very exciting because, that's what all the buyers are looking for currently. And we also have our fall program in October. So thank you. Thank you so much, Johnny. Really appreciate
thank you. Thank you. And just to say to everybody as well, obviously I'm attending CosmoProf, and if you want to come and meet us, we'd love to see you. Come towards the end of the day, because during the day it's flat out busy, but that sort of 4:30, 5, 6 o'clock, if you want to come and have a catch up, we'd love to talk to you. So and thank you so much to ECRM for inviting me on. We've really enjoyed this chat. It's been great.
Thank you so much. And I'll see you in Bologna.
See you there. Take care.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.